credit score can be helpful with your finances, of course, but do you know where you stand? Do you know what your number is? Chase Wilsey of Wilsey Asset Management joining us now with more. Chase, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Tough segment to follow there, but glad to be here.
I was going to say, what did you bring us, Chase? Did you bring a medal?
No medals today.
No medals
Maybe
today.
Next time. We'll see what I can get at Party City or something.
Maybe a Doge coin or something. Okay. The ranges for these credit scores, we've been hearing about this forever, and even like in high school, for me, way back in the day, they said, you got to keep your credit score if you want to get a car, if you want to get a house. It's important. It's the most important thing associated with your name. Still true?
I would say it's still absolutely true. I mean, because the credit score is used for so many different things. I mean, you talk about getting a loan anywhere. Well, they're going to check your credit score. I mean, you talk about getting a home loan, an auto loan. What about also people don't realize, even if you're renting, your landlord's going to check to make sure you can pay your bills. Utility companies look to see it. Sometimes even I hear employers will check to see how creditworthy you are. So there's a lot of different people that are looking at that credit score. It's an important number.
And when people say creditworthy, it's really a reflection on who you are, like your responsibility, your ability to like you said, pay your bills and everything else. It's like the first algorithm, if you will. Those are the numbers they look at to see who you are.
Exactly.
Bottom line. So I think we have the information of the numbers and the ranges and everything else. And if you're 800 and above, it's exceptional. At this point, you can borrow whatever you want, or they're still limited to like your credit score is 830.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not going to get a free interest rate or anything like that. But I mean, you really want to strive to be, I'd say, in the very good range, which means you're going to have a credit score of above 740. And as I said, 800, 850 is that exceptional. 850, you're at the top of the line there. You can't go any higher.
I pay my bills, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the good range, which is, again, about 630 to the 699 there, then you're doing okay. But to really start getting the good rates at the mortgage brokers, the auto loans, you want to be in that very good range. I find it kind of interesting that the average credit score for all age demographics, though, they're all in that good range, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we really need to
bump it up a little bit.
We need to bump it up. Yeah.
Let's talk about that in terms of age group, because the millennials, Generation X, and the baby boomers, it seems to the older you get, the better your credit score. Is that because they were told earlier and we were told earlier that this matters?
Well, I think a lot of it actually stems from the debt payment history. And that is actually the largest factor when you look at a credit score, is how is your history. And I think a lot of times as you age, it's not necessarily just what you were taught and different people, but just generally speaking, as you age, you start to realize, oh my gosh, I need to start taking care of my finances. I mean, I see it all the time with clients where they're 60 years old and say, oh my gosh, I want to retire in 5 years. What do I do? I think it's just kind of that smack in the face that makes you realize it. So I think over time the millennials, they'll catch up to the Gen X, and then you'll see Gen Z, they'll kind of follow the millennials. So it's just kind of progression throughout life.
How do you stay on top of your score? Because it used to be you have to pay and get the report, but now more and more companies are offering this for free. And why is it important to keep tabs on your score? Because a lot of times people, they don't realize their score is bad until they try to go get that car, try to go get that home loan, and it doesn't work out.
They're not exact from what the mortgage broker might be pulling, but I highly recommend, just to get in ballpark of where you're at, a lot of companies now offer that free service. I mean, I like to use Mint, for example. It really pulls everything together for me. I can track all my expenses. I can track all my cards. They give you a credit score. I know Discover as well, a bank that I use, they give you a credit score. I mean, you can do the Credit Karma. There's so many good options to really see where you stand. And also, too, it's so important not just to kind of see where you stand, but to make sure you're not having any hard inquiries, to make sure you're not having fraudulent charges on your card. That's why I recommend staying on top of that credit score on a regular basis.
For those who maybe look at their credit score and it's not where they need to be, maybe younger people, maybe even older people, what are the best steps? Because you can fix your credit score. You can make it go, and you hear a lot of commercials for companies that say they do that. What's the best way to improve that number if it's not where you want it to be?
So I'd say kind of two areas that I highly recommend for people. If you do have really poor credit and you can't even get credit lines because you need to establish credit to get credit,
which is
the hard
cycle
part.
Of what in the world? What do I do?
So if you're in that situation, I highly recommend what's called a secured credit card. What that means is you're going to put down basically $1,000 deposit. It's almost like a debit card, but it functions as a credit card. So you use those assets as a line of credit, and it allows you to show, yeah, I'm a worthy borrower. And over time, that'll help you build credit. It'll help show that you can establish a credit card. The other thing is, as I mentioned, the biggest thing you can do is you have credit card debt. It sounds simple, but really get focused. Pay that down because it's a 2-for-1 deal. And what I mean by that is the debt payment history occupies about 35% of your credit score.
Wow.
Another 30% comes from the amounts owed. And the amounts owed, let's just say you have $2,000 of available credit. If you have $1,900 that is occupying your credit limit, that is terrible for your credit score. If you start paying that down, that's again 30% of that. So really, really focus on that. Auto payments are extremely important to establish that debt payment history as well.
Wow. I mean, it's fascinating. If you start really looking into what determines that number, maybe people a little responsibility and fiscal responsibility goes a long way.
Absolutely.
We need to teach more of that.
Oh,
like
definitely.
High school and whatnot.
That's why I'm here, you know.
Chase, thank you as always. Great stuff. Appreciate
Next time I'll have a medal for you. Hopefully.
Next time, bring something. Yes. You don't need to bring a medal.